Hello yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my living room here in Vancouver, Canada. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is Thursday, January the 7th, 2020, and this is video number 90. It's been a week, and what a week it's been since I last podcasted. So it's going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge of things that I'm going to talk about in this video. So I am going to catch you up on some works in progress, finish works, a little bit of pattern talk, some happy mail that arrived, and I believe that there's going to be more happy mail that's coming that might be late because of the post. So I want to share that with you as it comes in. I talk about our purchases, a little bit of a story about KnitPicks missing order that I made and yet to be resolved and talked about, so that will be a lot of fun to share. And also some New Year's Eve things that I want to share with you as well. And I believe I'm going to just check my notes. Yeah, I believe that's it. So a little bit of loose ends to catch you up on. And before I get going, I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone. It's my first episode of 2021 and this is the year of fun, I hear. So I'm really looking forward to that. 2020 for all of us was quite a difficult and testing time globally. We've never seen the likes of it in our lives. So I have to say that with all of that in thought, how amazing an outlet like this YouTube channel has given me such inspiration, courage, and it's because of you guys that all of that has happened. I don't know where I would be without the connections that I've made this year, whether or not life in itself would have been as enjoyable because of everything that is going on in the world. So I want to say a very big heartfelt thank you to all of you who have embraced my journey, myself, this channel, Hubby, who presented himself in the last video. He modeled the Hey Handsome cardigan for me, and he was a little nervous, but I knew and I was confident with all of the loving people that I have met in this yarning community that he would feel that as well. And yes, after reading all of those comments that you left him, he is happy to come back again and do some unboxing with me of yarn. So thank you for that. Yeah, so let's talk about the yarn for a little bit here, the unboxings. So I do have a Premier yarn haul that he's going to help me talk about. And I did make an order at KnitPicks, which vanished into the wilderness somewhere out there. Back in November, I think it was the Black Friday sale, I ordered 12 hanks of bare yarn, and I watched it go to Illinois on December the 8th. It made its way there, and then there were no more entries in the delivery tracking. So I thought Monday, January the 4th, I would call up and find out where the yarn was. KnitPicks needed some time to get back to me, so they emailed a few hours later saying that the courier service that was meant to pick up the delivery and then take it on to the next leg of the way had reported that they had cancelled the order. So I'm not too sure what happened there, but that's where the link was kind of like, it fell apart, and they can't find where the box is, so they're reissuing me new yarn and sending that off. So I received the confirmation of that this morning, but the confirmation wasn't fulfilling all of the 12 yarn. It was just fulfilling 10 of them. So I had to call back to find out whether it was because they were out of stock or just some reasoning why maybe it was coming in a separate package. They were quite surprised as well. So I really liked KnitPicks' service. They were quick to rectify it, so they're sending out the missing 2 skeins, and that should be coming in a separate shipment. So I should be getting that yarn pretty soon. I did want to talk about the colorway of what I intend to put into the next experiment of the dye up. And yeah, so in the kitchen when I jump back in there, but I'm going to have to push that to a later date when the yarn arrives. Yeah, and talking about hand-dyed yarn, my last episode that I hand-dyed yarn in 87, video 87, was met with some great responses and comments. I was a little late in answering comments, and I still am. I'm still catching up. But when I was reading through them and commenting, I discovered that there were a couple of my fibre friends out there that really, really loved the colorway in so much that they were offering to pay for it and buy them. And so I wasn't sure how to price, because I am new at yarn dyeing, and they are kind of experimental pieces. They're one-offs. I'm not sure how to quality control or process the colorways again and again to repeat them. I'm just having fun in the kitchen, basically. But they were interested in purchasing the yarn, and I was like, wow, I'm super surprised. I've only ever really sold 3 hanks since I've been dyeing, and that was to another fibre friend. Hello, Granny D, how you doing? So I wasn't too sure how to price that. So I left it up to them. I said, you know, I know kind of like how much the professionals do charge for each hank, and what would they consider would be a fair price. So they named their price, and I thought, that's pretty good. And I agreed. So those yarn are being shipped out. I did sell 8 of them, and some are going to Europe and some are going to the United States. So yeah, I'm so bewildered and astonished, but thank you for the support of those people who purchased the yarn. And okay, so let's start with Happy Mail, shall we? Only because I love the messages in these cards and the little gifts that came in with them. So let's do that. It made me super happy to open these. If I mention any YouTubers or any tutorials or patterns, any Etsy sellers, any points of purchase, I will put them down below in the description box. That's a given. So if you're ever missing or maybe misheard, or maybe I made a fudge up of a contact or person's name, I will make the corrections and the links down below in the description box. So the first card here is a Christmas card, lovely wreath on the front. It's from our fibre friend Tris. Now Tris has a YouTube channel, and I'm going to open and read the channel name because I don't want to get it wrong. Comfy Cozy Crochet with Tris. So she's written me a beautiful message. Thank you, Trish. But Tris, but I will read the inscription inside the card. It's meaningful, memorable, merry and bright. Wishing you a Christmas season that's everything you could hope for and more. Thank you. That's a wonderful, and I love the personalized message that you wrote in there for me as well. Thank you. In the card were these 2 wonderful, I think that's upside down, wonderful teas. I've had stash before, but not in this flavor. So this is in the flavor cinnamon, apple, chamomile, and it's a herbal tea. And this one here is traditional medicinal, and it's organic chamomile with lavender. I do have trouble sleeping. I kind of suffer from insomnia, and nothing terrible about it. It's just that whenever I'm finding it hard to sleep, I get up and do things. I make good use of the time. So those will be wonderfully used and tested to see whether they help me have a restful night's sleep for a full night. Thank you for that. The next one is a card from all the way from Germany, and it's from our Reggie. And Reggie has a YouTube channel called J-hook crochet. And I looked up the meaning of the translation of these two words here in German, and it says Merry Christmas. But I'm going to have fun trying to read it in German, only because I kind of like that. It's Fröhliche Weihnachten. Fröhliche Weihnachten. Reggie, I'm sorry I butchered your language. And there's no inscription in the card, just a personal message, which I won't share with everyone. But thank you, Reggie, for those kind sentiments. I absolutely love your channel. And inside of the card were these two teas. And I'm showing you the German side. And on this side here, it kind of is English. Maybe French. And this one here says joy, and it says ginger and citron, or hem, I think it's French. Ginger and citron is like ginger lemon, I guess. And this one is harmony, and it is chai classique or traditional chai. So can't wait to dig into those. Thank you for those delightful gifts. I also got some help in getting some yarn sent to me from the United States. This was purchased in the Chicago area by our friend Kit from All Things Crochet and Knit with Kit. And Yarn Bee is a yarn store and the yarn that we cannot get here in Canada. So Kit graciously donated her time and energy to go shopping on their 30% off weekend to get these yarns for me. And thank you, Kit, for saving me the costs on these yarns by shopping the discounted weekend too. So here we go. They're the Authentic Hand-dyed Tonal yarn that they have in their store right now. New to me. But they've been around for, I'm going to say maybe 4 months. And I love them. Oh my God, they are so soft. And look at that color in there. The tonal colors are just vibrant, lovely, luscious. And let me tell you a little bit about the yarn. So it's 100% superwash merino, and they are saying here that you can put this in the machine to machine wash it, but lay flat to dry. They're suggesting knitting needle size of 2.75 millimeters. Is that 2.75? I can barely read that. Yes, 2.75 set of millimeter knitting needles and 3.25 millimeter crochet hook. It is a fingering weight or a superfine 1 classification, and the colorway that I'm holding here is Chestnut Ember. Now the price tag on this was $14.99 US, and because Kit is a savvy shopper, we got the 30% off. I don't know what that makes it. Yeah, so in each hank, let me tell you how much you get. 100 grams, which gives you 420 yards or 385 meters. So enough there to, I guess, build on a larger project, like a larger shawl or a wrap. And I was thinking, I really like the designs that are out there that are shawls that utilize a number of different contrasting or complementary yarns. So this might be one colorway that I would use. And I hand dyed something of my own colorway pack, I guess, to the Hunger Games. And this one here is called Girl on Fire. I guess it was in honor of Katniss, and she was the girl on fire in that story. But I could join that in there, and it's very complimentary. So yeah, and it has a little bit of the oranges and deeper reds in there that really fit in well with that tonal variation. The other one that I received from that order as well, or that delivery, were these two. Same breakdown as the Chestnut Ember, except in a colorway called Hazel Basil. In Australia, we don't say basil, we say basil, but that wouldn't make sense, would it? Doesn't rhyme as well. So Hazel Basil, and again, enough yards in that for a larger shawl project for sure. And in that same advent pack that I made for the Hunger Game movie are these two called Arena. And I'm thinking that these two, lending itself to the Hazel Basil colorway, kind of makes it a little bit more almost aquatic to me. Like you would see these colors in the sea, like seaweed, and or reeds at the edge of a lake, like a deep blue lake. So yeah, I really like those two colorways together as well. So that is I guess all of the happy mail that I have to share with you. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is finished works, so let's get stuck into that. My first finished object of the week. You saw half of this being done in the last podcast, so I added another couple of more rows of repeat. It is a crocheted pattern, and this one is called, what is it called? Rivers Shawl. And it does look like meandering waves in a creek bed. My colorway looks a little different. Kind of reminds me more of earth, like maybe crops or something greenish, brown, earth tones. Really, really nice. And the designer of this is Rich Textures Crochet. And I'm going to link it down below just in case I fudged up the name, because sometimes I get the words mixed around. And it is a paid for pattern if you want to get the non-ad version. And they also have a tutorial, a free tutorial where they show how to crochet this up, which is awesome, delightful. And what I did a little different was on the ends, I did more of a geometric kind of edging here, where I added, I think 5 rows, 2 rows of single crochet and double crochet with eyelets, and then finished it off with a round of 2 more single crochets. So in the tutorial that I watched, the one that the instructor or the tutorial person was working on was a finishing off in a more fan, I don't know whether they call those picots, but they're fan, kind of like fanning out of the stitch work to create the border. And I wanted to just make it a straight one. I didn't want scalloping. So I really enjoyed making this. Now this was my first Make 9, or it is in my Make 9 card, which is the intentions that you want to achieve throughout the course of a 12-month period. And so this one I'm going to kind of check off because I didn't do it pattern verbatim. I wanted to make it into a scarf width rather than the shawl width. I did use a 3-weight yarn. The pattern called for a 4-weight yarn. So I did alter it a little bit with the length. I added a few more of, I think it's like a 14 or 7 row repeat. Not row repeat, but like stitch repeat. So I added on the extra 7 or 14 stitch repeats a few times so that I could reach 5 feet and 8 inches, which is kind of my wingspan. And yeah, so I altered it a little bit, but I want to do it again. I want to try different yarn with it. for the next experimental piece, and I want to do a little bit more of the color change out of 2 different yarns to see what that looks like. So I'm going to half tick that one off because I want to revisit again and try different things with it. So what do you think? I really like it. I like the earthy colors. They're kind of more my colors as well. It's got the boho look. Yeah. So the next finished object that I have to share is another bush tracker beanie. It's a pattern, a knit pattern that I'm writing up, and right now I'm pretty close to finishing the draft, and then it's going to head off to being tested. But initially when I took on the challenge of writing up my first pattern, because I'm quite kind of clueless when it comes to writing. I know how to read patterns, and there are many styles of the way people write up their patterns. So the learning curve of it for me is quite, I'm bewildered, kerfuffled. So I'm going to see how I go. But I decided that I won't just write up a pattern that is for one size. I want it to be a little bit inclusive. I know that there are many head circumferences. I'm going to try 3 of them. I don't want to make it too confusing for myself for the first go at writing a pattern, but I'm going to try to write up this pattern for 3 head sizes. So I'm going to do a small, medium and large, and this one I did was to a small head, so I had to reconfigure stitches, also the decreases, as well as yeah, just to get it looking so that it sits well on a smaller person's head, medium size and a large size. So yeah, this one's a small, and I'm using in this pattern, it is Premier Serenity, and it's the bulky 5 weight, and they are suggesting here to use 8mm set of knitting needles. I do kind of go through different needle sizes in my pattern, so I probably won't mention anything else about the yarn apart from the weight. And what I am attempting to do with the pattern as well is to make it a bit versatile, so that if you don't want to use bulky 5 weight and you want to combine your own mull together of 2 4-weight yarns, that it may not reach the standard of the bulky pattern weight that's needed to complete these hats, but it might sit somewhere between a 4 and a 5 weight, which is what I rate these 2 4-weight yarns to be, more of an Aran when they're twisted together, so not quite a bulky 5. And so I am doing a test run on my large size in the pattern, using an Aran weight of 2 4 strands of yarn combined, and it's actually measuring up to the medium size length and width of a medium head. So the pattern that I'm creating is more of a matrix of how to achieve different sizes, but also if you are using and busting stash that might sit in between 2 yarn grades, like not quite a bulky but a lighter bulky. So that gives you a suggestion as well on using stash to create different sizes as well. Oh, and this is my work in progress. And it is the Bush Tracker Beanie, a pattern that I'm drafting up, as I mentioned. And what I'm using in this one here is 2 yarns together. One's a cookie yarn, and it's in the colorway, I believe it's called Mustard. And should you want the color number, it is 462222. So there are 3 2s in that colorway number. And this one here, which is a Everyday from Premier Anti-Peeling yarn, and is classified a 4-weight yarn. Now the reason why it's a little bit sitting under the 5 bulky is because the cookie yarn is quite a, they classify it as a 4, I believe, but it's more of a 3 weight. Yeah, I think it's a 3 weight yarn. So it doesn't sit at bulky, it sits just a little below bulky, but I really like these colors together. So that's where the pattern, as I mentioned, becomes versatile, that you can actually bust through your stash. If you don't have the right weights, you could then go and do a larger size hat to get the gauge of the medium size fit, if that makes sense. Yeah, so, oh, I should mention the colorway of this one was in the colorway Almond. Yep. And again, the colorways of these two, because I might not have mentioned, this one is the cookie and the mustard, and this one here is in the colorway Tonal Clay, I think, if I remember. Clay tones. So yeah, these two together make up this hat. So really enjoying that. The next thing that I want to talk about is, what else do I have? I believe that's it. Catches you up with my happy mail, my works in progress. Now I'm going to be just checking in with you about New Year's Eve. Excuse me. New Year's Eve for us, we spent at home, but we did have a brilliant Zoom session amongst us friends. And I'm going to insert a couple of photographs of the spread that we ate while we were Zoom chatting with our friends playing Jackbox game. And if I can put it above my head here, I'll just talk to you about it. So what you see here is the spread that we had, and the concept behind it was that there was a bit of a food drop-off. We each had a category or a entree that we had to make up and share amongst each other. So there were 4 of us in the groups. It was quite fun, and that's how we rang in the new year. It was a lot of games that we played. We had some beverages. It was great, and it really did brighten up our whole experience of getting together in a cyber way and enjoying that experience. Yeah, Jackbox is such a great connecting game as well. There was a tech-savvy person in the group that set that all up so that we can all join in and play on our devices. And the box set has, I think, a number of games, like 6 or 7 games, maybe. And the ones that we really enjoyed was one called Fibbage, and the other one was a drawing game like Pictionary, and that was a whole lot of fun as well. So if people are looking to connect via the internet in a Zoom chat, those sets of games that you can purchase, you can play on your devices being in remote locations. So look into that, it's a lot of fun. I will link down below if I can find a website where they have those games so that you can see what I'm talking about. The other game that I was wanting to talk to you about as well, because it sprung to mind talking about Jackbox when I was thinking about what to talk about in this episode, was a game that I loved playing on my phone, and it was called The Room. Now, I'm not sure whether people are familiar with what they call, it's like a strategy game where the storyline is basically moving through the game if you unlock it by resolving a puzzle or finding a way through the story by listening, and then comprehension kind of tests towards they're almost like barriers or obstacles, and to achieve passed into the next bit of the story, you need to get the puzzle correct. Anyway, the room is an amazing 4. I think right now they have 4 that have been bought out, and I loved it so much that I bought a couple of t-shirts from their online store. And sorry, it's like a bit wrinkled. So that's part of the graphic that you make up. I think it might be in the second or third part of the game. And it's part of this Rubik's Cube kind of magical tool that you're building. And as you achieve certain parts of the game, you are building that magical tool. And I love it. So the graphics are beautiful, and the lighting, the texture, the design gives you that kind of, it's almost like a workshop feel, the workshop of a genius, like a mad genius. I really love the whole look and feel of how they branded that. I think that's it. I will jump in here next week to talk to you about some of the things that may or may not have arrived from these orders that I've purchased. Lime Brand as well, loot from Lime Brand. They were having a sale that I jumped in on, and a new store called Argghh that I've never used before. They had an anniversary sale, and I heard about them from Lisa's Crochet. Hi Lisa! And she put out a video which highlighted some of the Canadian online stores, and she spoke about Argghh. So I purchased some, and when that comes in, I will share with you what I purchased. I hope everyone's having a great week so far of their new year, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.